Yeah, Cousy was great for his time. Pistol Pete was great for his time. But you know, what would Kyrie Irving do in that time?
Oh,
Jeez.
that would have been so much fun to watch.
By the way,
Family, what's good with you? I hope all is well, and thank you for tapping in and taking part of what we are building. We are inching closer to 1 million views on our little channel, and it's all because of you. Feel me? Let's get it, y'all. Man, I tell you, this plan to erase the legends of the past by these new era dudes is diabolical. I see what's going on. They can't be greater than the legends of the past. So they want to create a new NBA. And if it's left up to them, they'll say it started in 2003 when LeBron was drafted. That's when all basketball started. And he's the Messiah, right? And we're taught to what Rich Paul say, right? I would have asked him, what would Kyrie Irving have done in that era if he had to play by the rules Cousy and Pistol Pete had to? You couldn't carry the ball back then. You couldn't do the 3-step walk, Euro step, and all of this mess that they be doing. If you take that part out to today's game, would these guys really have the great handles that y'all claim they have? Do you see how disingenuous these interviews are? Because the interviewers, they stay service level. They don't want to challenge these dudes. Right? If they don't want to challenge the guys they interview, then what information are we really getting? Huh? On the heels of the Stephen A. Smith and LeBron James confrontation drama, Rich Paul, LeBron's agent and CEO of Klutch Sports, decided he wanted to go on the Pat McAfee show and inject his 2 cents. Peep how he went on McAfee's show, but not on First Take with Stephen A. Smith. That's corny. That's corny, Rich Paul. And Pat McAfee, I rock with him, but he's losing velocity on his fastball, fam. The cupcake ass-kissing interview that he gave Rich Paul, I was shocked and I was very disappointed. With Rich Paul, I was taught men take accountability. Y'all dudes have no idea of what that word means. Facts. Right? But what he said about the evolution of players and celebrating the players of today was absolutely a bunch of horse shit. When are you guys gonna get tired? When are we as fans? When are we gonna get tired of these dudes trying to insult our intelligence? Huh? Let me ask you an honest question. Rich Paul made reference to players in the game evolving, right? He made several comparisons to horses, cars, from black and white TVs to iPhones. But here's my thing. If the game has evolved and the players have evolved to such an advanced level, shouldn't their level of greatness evolve too? Am I wrong? Why do they have to lower the bar to eclipse the past greats? That doesn't make sense to me. It seems like these guys are afraid to be compared to the past greats because the standards are way too high. Therefore, let's take the easy way out. Again, helicopter to the top, right? Let's erase the memories of the legends and act like the NBA started the year LeBron was drafted. That's what we doing. If they can't compete with the dudes that were the greatest to ever do it, how do they get to call themselves the best or the greatest at anything? Please answer that. Are we blinded? Are we not blinded? Are we forgetting how to critically use our brain? When these dumbass analysts scream, they scream, oh, he's the best to ever do it. Oh my God. What are they comparing it to, fam? Please explain to me. Anyway, I want you to listen to a little bit of what Rich Paul had to say. And right after, I want you to listen to what Stephen A. Smith had to say in response. And then we'll come back and break it down. And I need you to tell me if I'm thinking about this wrong. Take a listen to what they had to say.
what would Kyrie Irving do in that time?
Oh,
Jeez.
that would have been so much fun to watch.
By the way, yeah, it's like the black and white TV and like the iPhone.
Yes.
The evolution of it is what it is, and I think that for those that have the platforms to talk about the sport, they're going to always lean and be biased towards when they played and or the previous years, but it's supposed to get better. just like anything in life, when you look at the cars, the Model T today is now we have electric cars. Or the Model T of yesterday, today we have electric cars. It used to be horseback riding. Everything is different. Walkmans to iPods to now we have iTunes. Everything is different, right? Taxis to Ubers. There's an evolution, right? And so we have to allow that to be the same in our sport, and not just try to judge these guys and have them chase goats all the time. We have great players in the league, as you can see.
And Kuzi would be great today if you didn't think he was a great player, unbelievable ball handler. Now, listen, he wasn't going to shoot the ball as well, but it's a different era. The athlete is advanced, and if that's what Rich means, he happens to be right. I'll tell you right now, though, all right, and I've been around, so is Stevie. Jordan played now 30 years ago. All right, that's not 10. That's over a generation ago, and he's still the best player of all time. So you can talk about LeBron anybody you want. There's nobody better than Jordan. And his career began in 1984 and 1985. That's 40 years ago.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a long time. That's a ghost that's never going to change. There's Kuzi with those great passes, Russell on the break. Oh, I love that stuff. But I would say Jordan, and nobody's better than that guy right there, Bird. But I would think that Jordan, and Steve would agree, that's a ghost, Steve, that for the next 100 years, I don't care what the advancement of the athlete is, Jordan is going to be the guy that I'm always going to compare somebody to because he's that good. MJ.
They say, whether it's Rich Paul as an agent in an agency or it's the players themselves, they say it as a point of contention because their belief is that it minimizes and diminishes the accomplishments of today's players. I look at it differently. I think the conversation elevates the players in the annals of history because you're talking about them. Dr. J had to deal with the David Thompsons, the Connie Hawkins comparisons. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar had to deal with the Wilt Chamberlain comparisons, the Bill Russells and others. Whether, Doggy will appreciate this, the Artis Gilmores, the Bob Laniers of the world. They had to deal with the comparisons of the same big men. You had shooters like downtown Freddie Brown and Ricky Pierce and Dale Ellis and Del Curry and others, and Bird, of course. Shooters that followed, the Ray Allens, the Allen Houstons of the world, and others had to deal, the Reggie Millers of the world, had to deal with those comparisons. Respectfully, the only people who whined and moaned about it were these players. Doggy, back me up here. When we talked about errors, previous errors with those players, whether it be Jordan, whether it be Reggie Miller, whether it be any of them, they didn't complain about comparisons to the past. They embraced it because they recognized from an historical context and an historical perspective, simply talking about them put them in a position where they would be considered years after their playing days were over because their performances had warranted discussions about their legacies in basketball history. This generation uses it as an excuse to whine and moan about it. Why, Molly? Why, Doggy? Because you're looking at today's atmosphere of social media and beyond, and they want to say everybody has a voice. That's not the only reason. They've utilized those outlets and those assets to monetize their brands. And so anything that you say about them that isn't of the loftiest of praises is considered something that's potentially compromising their brand and what their agenda is for their brand. That is what they get caught up in. And I'm just saying they're looking at it wrong. Just because they are doesn't mean we're not. When we talk about these guys, we're actually celebrating them by comparing them to yesteryear because we're recognizing that their greatness commands that level of attention.
Watching that clip over again, I realized something. People are not going to really appreciate Stephen A. Smith until he's gone. Because when they look back at history, the smart people, they're going to say, Stephen A. Smith is one of the only media giants who didn't kiss ass and allow these dudes to hijack the narratives. He went from a beat writer to the $100 million face of the biggest sports network in the world. Y'all better put some respect on his name, fam. Facts. But in this day and age, he's the villain. Black mainstream and social media are jealous of his success. They don't want to get behind him, so you know what? They trash him. White mainstream and social media are jealous of his success because how could a loudmouth ninja become the $100 million king of ESPN? Huh? They jealous. So they trash him. The athletes trash him because he holds them accountable and doesn't kiss that ass, right? LeBron hates him because he calls out the BS LeBron tries to push. Monkey see, monkey do. The other players who glaze LeBron and want to stay in his good graces, now guess what? They hate Stephen A. Smith too. Let me say this to you all. The guy may not be perfect, all right? But none of us are. And the next time you open your mouth to trash the guy, remember, half of you bums wouldn't have a career without the work Stephen A. Smith put in and showed the world what a black man is capable of. Huh? But from what I can see, this Bronny thing was absolutely an excuse, right? All of these dudes are saying, yo, LeBron, he was protecting his family. Well, if you think about it, Stephen A. Smith was trying to protect LeBron and his family by pleading with him to stop the foolishness and making Bronny a target. And these idiots really had the gall to say that that was a valid reason for a world-class athlete who is physically a beast to run down on a man who was damn near 60. That makes complete sense to you guys, right? From LeBron to Draymond to Wade, Carmelo, all these dudes, athletes who chiming in, they making it about something it's really not. But they trying to sell it because they don't want to tell the truth about their man, about their king. These dudes do not want to be compared to the past greats because they know they're not as good, period. And if you show and prove they're not as good, then get the ops because that discredits their brand, get it? You know why Jordans are still outselling all other sneakers 40 years later, fam? Because of what he did on the court, even when he was losing, the supreme dominance that he showed on all levels. If he didn't dominate on the court, his shoe would have just faded like everybody else's. Did it? Rich Paul, nice try. But all of us are not slow, fam. Stephen A. Smith, thank you for saying what no one else will. All right, listen, it's your turn, fam. Jump in the comments and let the clip off. What's your opinion of this situation? Why do you think these guys today don't like to be compared, huh? Is it because they're afraid they can't live up to the bar that was set and they're scared their brand will suffer? Tell me, I want to know. What is it? On your way out, if you enjoyed the video, do us a favor. Tap the like and help the channel, fam. I really appreciate all the support and engagement. I can't thank you enough. And go ahead and subscribe if you want to be first to get this truth serum. Facts in your face hoops. Till the next video, keep it real, be safe, and God bless.